What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest of cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon Tynes.
What's up? What's up?
What's going on? Welcome to Wednesday's episode. So it's our discussion. So definitely tune in to Monday, where we talked about AT&T and how they are trying to spin off their cybersecurity business to potentially Barclays. Check out Tuesday, where we talk about the Dole and how they were attacked. They were potentially hit with ransomware and had to shut down for a day, and like just the second, third order effects of that. And then that kind of feeds into today's episode, where we talk about. Actually, I'll just jump right to it. So the title is "Even Hackers Are Reportedly Getting Laid Off by Organized Crime Groups." This is an article by businessinsider.com. So we talk about it the past couple of weeks, is how they are very organized, right? Like these are like legitimate companies that can't file taxes probably. But like the underbelly of ransomware as a service, you have anything you can think of that's the hackers attacking companies, generate on this revenue, whatever. They have begun to organize and just become very very oiled, efficient machines. They have HR departments, they have call centers, they have better job advertisements, and I think they call them job recs, than legitimate companies, right? Like they're paying for training, like they probably give out scholarships. But they're even so good that some people have at least they claim to have been fooled, thinking that they're working for a legitimate company, and they're not. They're working for someone nefarious who is stealing from other companies, which you would have to figure out, like, why am I not getting a W-2? Why are they paying me in Bitcoin? But I digress. But they are so good at what they do that they look like legitimate companies. And now we're starting to see in this article, they're starting to have layoffs, just like us regular people here on the outside, which it boggles my mind. But in the article, they talk about how the U.S. Department of Justice Investigations has, beefed up their analysis and their ability to investigate and seek out these gangs, and kind of shut them down. They know what they're looking for now. They're partnering with other nation states to target ransomware groups and kind of shut this process down. But also, as we talked about in the previous episode, like Dole is a company that's based out of the UK. The UK and the EU have certain rules where you can't even pay. So legislation and regulation overseas is even stepped up, and it's also happening here in the States as well. They're kind of working towards that. The current administration is trying to make it where you cannot pay, or at least you have to get the federal government involved as soon as possible if you're part of critical infrastructure or things of that nature, like things where people can become harmed, or it could cause a major disruption in quality of life or even death. You have to tell the government now, which stifles your ability to pay in these circumstances. So now that's actually having a trickle effect. So in the article, it says one hacker group called Conti even laid off 45 call center operators last year who were working as part of an apparent scheme to spread ransomware attacks after the call centers failed to make money. So they weren't making enough, they weren't generating enough sales. So they had to lay them off. We often talk about how, like, does crime pay? Because it, like, if you talk 2019, 2020 levels, like these people were getting paid a lot of money for the particular skills. And we're like, well, we can't necessarily retain talent here on the good side over the blue teamers because everybody's going to the dark side, doing the attacks. And now we're starting to see the pendulum swing. So it's pretty exciting stuff. But also like surreal. It's like a parody, like real life. What do you feel about? How do you feel about this, Shannon?
Man, I'm there with you, man. Like I'm right there where you are. I'm sidestepping with you on this one, man. Like I like to see it too, right? It's like, okay, if crime doesn't pay, then what ends up happening, right? Like maybe those people, because here's the thing. I know as crazy as it sounds, they could have gained a skill set when they were doing things that were nefarious, that they when they come back to the, come
Yeah,
back
yeah,
in a
they can
white
bring it
hat.
up back to us.
There you go, right? You know what I mean? Like, hey, let me tell you what we did when I was on the other side, or maybe not
Right.
express it like that, but like I heard, right? Or do or
Like, how
do
you know
like
how to do it so well?
or do like Trump always does, right? Like some people say, like, nah, motherfucker, it's you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to swear. My apologies, but but yeah, it's like I don't know. I like to see it, right? And reading this article, like there was some stuff in here, like I know that the DOJ has been going after this, but like the agencies they've stood up, I didn't even know were a thing, right? So in 2021, the agency created new groups internally, including the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team and the Ransomware and Digital Extortion Task Force. Like they have task force dedicated just to doing these types of things, like policing this and making sure this doesn't happen, right? And like you mentioned before with the current administration, right? The things that they're doing to try to like address cybersecurity, right? Because they see the writing on the wall. My hope is that they're just that forward thinking, right? No, mind you, it took some things to happen, right? Like it took,
Yeah.
some big cybersecurity,
Colonial pipelines. Yeah.
right, right.
Yeah.
We can't get our pork from JBS, JBS, BJS,
Yep.
JBS,
JBS.
JBS. So it took some things to happen, but my thinking is that yeah, they are more forward thinking, and they're like, look, we do everything online, right? Everything is technical nowadays, right? Like we got AI talking about how it wants to kill us, right? So we gotta do something. We gotta,
It's not
so
creepy at all.
yeah, yeah, you know. but no, like this is uh, crime does not pay, right? Like the hope is that eventually you do get stopped, right? And this does happen to where you have to start breaking these things down, but yeah, like this is I'm happy to see this. Like this was not something that I read. It was just like more of the same, right? It's not. This is good stuff. But yeah, there's and it's not just the United States either, right? There are other countries, like we've done stories where it's been multinational task force that have gotten together, you
Right.
know what I mean, to get people for doing some of these things. So it's a good thing that it's not just happening in one country. Like the world is starting to see how serious this is, right? So
Getting sick of it. They're like, I can't get I'm putting gas in trash bags, which by the way, like that is still can't fathom. I was overseas when that happened. So you got people putting gas in trash bags because they're so scared that the pipeline wasn't going to come back up. And they wouldn't have the ability to get to work. So I'm gonna pour gas in the trash bag and tie it up, put it in my garage. Like that's how bad things get when cyber attacks happen to major organizations. People lose their minds.
yeah.
So the Department of Justice had to step their game up just to stop the panic. Because like, what if it had taken out a power grid? Then people would have generators. Like, and that's a good thing to have a generator in case it's backup and whatnot. But if you're the type person who will put gas in the trash bag, you will probably put a generator in a closed space, right? Like, so you have to sometimes help people to help themselves, so you're not causing more issues, because that could be a problem down the line. You just can't anticipate what panic will do to people. So then same thing with financial institutions. Like if you were to log into your bank account and it's just there's $0 and that's not your normal way of life, I mean, that's not your pattern of life, you would lose your mind. So it's a necessity not only to save these corporations money, but it's to protect the people, right? At the end of the day. And I love to see it. So at the end of the article, it talks about how close to a third of nation states are expected to devise laws governing ransomware by 2025. So across the board, there will be more government regulation. I'm sure hopefully there will be some kind of standard that takes place. There will be a convening of these nation states to talk to one another to make it happen. We'll see how that works out. But at the end of the day, they're going to stop them from having the ability to pay regardless. So like your attack on major corporations will significantly reduce because they can't take that pressure, those fines and things of that nature. Now your mom and pops, like that's a different story. Like that will continue to be a problem. But as more of these companies stand up, like we talked about in the AT&T topic, there's a lot more smaller to medium-sized MSSPs and things standing up to protect these smaller companies. So like I believe that will also start to work its way up, and hopefully that generates more jobs. So if anything, aside from hopefully getting these red teamers to come back to our side, we'll home grow more blue teamers to keep everybody safe. So cybersecurity will continue to grow and hopefully pay well. So we will see. But yeah, I thought it was hilarious. I don't want to see anybody lose their job, but if anybody's going to lose it, I'll prefer for these call centers spreading ransomware to have layoffs as opposed to legitimate people who are working for these bigger companies during the tech layoffs. So. But thank you for tuning in. Please, if you have not, go back to listen to Monday and Tuesday's episodes. And then after this one, Friday's episode will be everything else. So listen to us talk about movies, books, games, TV shows, that type of thing, where we unwind for the week. So stay safe, stay secure. Oh, and go to all social medias by our name. My name is at RAAS Security Guy, RY Security Guy. I'm on LinkedIn, Clubhouse, and Twitter. I promise I'll get this straight. This is a rough week. Stay safe, stay secure.